Hi guys, welcome back to Chop's Garage. Today we're covering a car that's been in the background in a lot of videos and I haven't covered it with you yet. And it is quite possibly the worst retail car buy I should be making. Why do I say that? Well, it's a car that I told you that I would not buy under any circumstances in many of my videos before, and a lot of you that follow me on Instagram who have already seen this car have pointed that out to me as well. So why do I consider it the worst retail car you can buy? Well, it seems a strange thing to say as Fiat 500s are such strong sellers, but the reason in particular this one is the worst one to buy is, for starters, it's a convertible, which means potentially more hassle, although I have to say I haven't, touch wood, had any problems so far with those. It's the Twinair, the 2-cylinder, which of all the engines is probably the one that is the least reliable. They're all pretty reliable, but this is the least reliable of them. They do get multi-air units sometimes, they can get head gasket problems sometimes. The 1.2 is definitely the strongest engine and the one I normally recommend people to get. So we've got that, convertible and twin air, but the big reason I said I'd never get this particular model is for this reason. There we go, it's an auto. It's my first automatic Fiat 500 and I said I wouldn't do it. Now, why did I say I wouldn't do it before? The reason being that this is a manual gearbox driven by hydraulics, and we all know that can be problematic. And there are lots of cases online of Fiat 500 automatics having problems. So we have probably the least reliable engine from the range. We have the automatic gearbox, which can be prone to issues, and we have the convertible roof. So for that reason, it doesn't make a very good retail option. Now, by that, what I mean is, as a retailer, obviously, anywhere up to 6 months, someone can make a claim on the vehicle to say that it's not fit for purpose, it's not as described, and they can make a claim. That's warranty or no warranty. You've got 6 months under the Consumer Rights Act to make that claim. So it basically means whenever you sell any vehicle as a dealer, you can be responsible up to 6 months for something happening to the vehicle. Within that first 6 months, you have to prove the fault didn't exist when the car went out. After 6 months, the consumer has to prove, they still have rights after 6 months, but they have to prove that the fault existed at purchase point. It's up to them to prove it. So as a dealer, anything that's a little bit complex is not a great option. Obviously, if you're buying it if you're selling it yourself privately, you've got none of those comebacks, so you don't have to worry about it. You can put your price up, and the trouble is the difference between dealer and private is only normally about £500. So that £500 risk, £500 versus the risk, a lot of the time just simply doesn't weigh out when a private seller can say, well, bye bye, it's your problem. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, this is not a great story to have to tell. A friend of mine asked me what car they should get for their lad. I gave them some advice, but obviously the lad wants something smart looking, something fancy, and against sort of my recommendations went and got an S-Line diesel Audi A3 and has driven it home, and on the way home it's gone bang. I suspect the timing chain, but obviously as a private seller, unless that private seller said the timing chain is fine, it's mechanically perfect, in which case he can go after them and say that the product wasn't as described, even with a private sale. But if he didn't put any of that down, then there's really no comeback for my friend's son, unfortunately. But it's not like that obviously in the dealer world. You have to deal with any problems. So yeah, so again, waffling on there, coming back to the point, anything that's complex you really don't want to do, which is why I tend to stick to, well, all my best sellers have sold. I tend to stick to the old chain-driven Hyundai i10s, chain-driven Kias, chain-driven Toyotas. I tend to stick to those small engine ones. So, how did I come about getting this car and why did I decide to buy it? Right, so as I said, this is a 2 litre, this is the lounge. Now that does go positively for it because that's the better spec. Being a lounge, you got the alloy wheels, you got the chrome trim, everything's colour coded, and then you have the check interior, which traditionally with these, as always, needs a wet clean. I very, very rarely ever come across a Fiat 500 with this check interior that does need a wet clean. They just water stain really badly. It's got the black roof, which is covered in mould, so that needs a really good clean. But I've already started, before I started filming, I did actually jump the gun a little bit and have a little go over here, and you can see that it's already, that needs a second going, but it's going to come up fine. That. And walking around the car, bodywork wise, being obviously a paint man, I can see a couple of changes in the silver. Edges of the door, I've got some chips need doing. Need treating before because I've left them and they've got a little bit crusty. We're free of scrapes on the corners of the bumpers, but we do have a bit of paint peel down here where someone's done some paint, by the looks of it, not prepped it properly, so that needs doing. And we have a little ding here by the petrol cap. So, and I did notice when it came in and it was clean, there's some light scratching all around here, and I don't know how much this is polished out. I need to have a little look at that. And again, on the edge of the door, there's some chip in there that needs treating. I mean, going back to that interior again, it's all actually in good nick, it just needs a really good clean. There's no holes or tears in it, so my wet cleaner should bring that up fine. The rest of the trim is pretty good. Obviously the plastics on these Fiats isn't the best, but it seems to be free of scraping. Again, being a lounge, we've got electric windows, electric mirrors, air con. We've got the auxiliary, all important auxiliary input. You've got the eco button, which drops the torque down by I think about 15% if you want to be economical in your long run. You've got your hole for your TomTom, and you've got your Bluetooth for your phone. So this is why the lounges are popular. The electric roof does function, and let's prove that. So these have 3 positions, the electric roofs. So we can have it all the way back. That's one, so have it all the way back. So they go all the way back. And then I think you've got like a, I'll leave the button alone, it self places I think 2/3 of the way across. There we go, yep. And then it should stop again before it gets to the front. Yeah, it does. And then the final section there you have to hold down. So the hood's working fine, and interior is good. There's no sign of any damp inside the car. Again, on these I've not really ever had any issues with damp getting through on the hoods on these. I blast them with a jet washer always to be sure, but I've never really had a problem with it. So like I say, you've got the auto box, which has the automatic or the manual setting on it. So you can then flick up and down through the gears if you like, or just leave it in automatic. Only covered 59,000 miles, and if I remember rightly, we've got a good service history with it. I'll go through that with you in a bit. So how did they come across the car? Well, the lady was a customer of Alfa Ragazzi down in Barnstable. Shout out to Stuart, Alfa Ragazzi, Stuart and Pete down there, who do the Fiats and Alfas, and she was looking to sell this on because she needed to, well, the story is that she needed to get a bigger car because she's helping someone that's disabled and they're struggling to get in and out of the car, and she's doing it a lot more now, so she needed a 5-door car. That's the story. Went down to see Stuart. Stuart sent her up my way to see if I'd like to buy it. She'd already been to We Buy Any Car, and they'd lowballed her a bit. I mean, these are worth good money now. I think this is worth about 6 grand, and they lowballed her at 2.8. Now I can kind of understand it, because to get retail ready, you know, you could really do with refurbing the alloys. These two aren't bad. I think there's a bit of flakiness on that. You've got a bit on the corner of the bumper there. Like I said, you've got the ding over here. So retail wise, there's probably quite a bit of paint to do if you want to get that top money for it, get that 6 grand for it. There's probably a bit of work to be done there, and that does add up quickly. If you're paying people to do panels, you've probably got £600-700 worth of paint to do quite comfortably there. So yeah, she wasn't particularly happy with her offer. She came and saw me. I had a little drive of it, long enough to be confident the gearbox was shifting correctly and the Twinair engine was running okay. But the thing with it is we just see this all the time, don't we? When it comes to part exchanges and selling cars, people tell you stories. Unfortunately, you get to a point in this industry where even however lovely the people are, you have to question the story behind why they're getting rid of the car. And unfortunately, very often it turns out that there is maybe only an element of truth to what they're saying, and there's an issue with the vehicle. So we're going to have to do some miles on this to be 100% confident. So that's probably the next thing for us to do. Let's hop in and take it for a drive. 500C automatic. This is the first time for me driving the automatic. We're going to start off it in full auto first. It's changing smoothly enough. You can feel a dip between changes. It's not as smooth as the Mercedes, but it's not outrageous. Up into fourth now. The Twinair engine works quite well with it because the Twinair's got all of its torque down at 1500 RPM. It kind of smooths it out a bit. Other than that, it feels like a normal 500. I'm not hearing any knocks or bangs from the suspension, which is good because 500s go through quite a lot of suspension. You'll normally get a boinging from the top mounts or a clonking from the lower arms as the suspension. Here we've got a steep hill here. Let's see how it gets on with this. So it drops us down to third. Not bad at all. I do like the Twinair engine. I know I say that it's more troublesome than the 1.2, but in terms of performance and fun, it is a better engine. There's just no two ways about it. So at the moment we've got it in standard mode. You can put it into eco mode. If I remember rightly, that drops like 20% or 15% off the torque. It's for when you want to get the most economy out of the engine. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that. These are quite economical anyway. I can only imagine it'd be worth sticking that on if you're on a dual carriageway or a motorway. If you're around the lanes like this, you know, want to have the most fun you can, don't you? So just keep it on normal mode. Right, national speed limit and some bends. Let's see how it does change in on its own. I'm driving it in such a way which I'm sure 90% of people that buy these won't do. On the brakes, turn her in, see how she changes down. That's alright actually, it's holding the gears. $500s are such fun, guys, seriously. Twinair 500s, I mean obviously go for the manual unless you really need auto, but if you have to have an auto due to some sort of like medical thing, or you know, you've only got a license for one but you want to have a lot of fun, this has got to be the best one. Right, let's try see if I can get this into the manual mode. Right, manual mode. So I just flick up and down. Drop it down. You don't want to take a Twinair over 4,000 reps, you're not getting most of the power out of it. That's really smooth. I tell you what, that manual change, that's impressive. I like that. That's a lot of fun. I'm having far too much fun in this, guys. Far too much fun. I haven't exceeded the speed limit yet. Oh my god, that is such a lot of fun. Such a lot of fun. Down. Even low for the corner. Power through the corner. Flick it up. That is brilliant. Brake. Turn in, go. Oh god. Right, okay. My mind is completely changed. This is a brilliant car for retail. Oh my god, it may have some things that you worry about, obviously with the gearbox and with it being a Twinair, but while it's working, it's like an Alfa Romeo. While it's working, isn't it fun? Oh dear. I do love, I said it again, I'll say it again, I do, seriously guys, go out, drive. If you're in a situation where you've gone, my car is costing me a fortune to run, I need to cut costs, but I want something that's still going to be fun, and something you can drive at not stupid speeds and still have fun with, go and try a Fiat 500 Twinair. If you can find a 105 brake horsepower one, and this is the 85, you can find a 105, I've never driven one myself, but I can only imagine they take it up a level. Yeah. So anyway, having put it fully to the test and probably upsetting a number of people about my use of the public roads, I can say that it changes absolutely fine. I like that manual. That is just flick it back there and back into auto again. I like that manual up and down. It's actually smoother than the auto, presumably because I'm speed matching when I'm changing anyway. It's smoother than the manual, but just obviously allows you still not to have to use that left foot. That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. So what to do with it? What to do with it? I mean, it needs an almighty clean. My debate is whether it's worth doing all the bodywork or not. I mean, to make it perfect, alloys need a refurb. There's some bits of paint here and there. There's that ding in the rear quarter. But then the car's got to go up for, like, you know, I think it's something in the region of $6 grand or more. It might be more now. It might be, I forget how much it's worth now. Oh, it might be like 6,995. I can't remember. I'll have to check when I get back. Or do I make it more affordable for someone to get a newer automatic within their budget and save myself the time by not doing all those things? Because, you know, I might be able to do those things effectively for very low cost with rattle cans and this, that and the other, but time wise it's probably going to be a couple of days. So, you know, a couple of days is, you know, hundreds of pounds worth of labour, isn't it? So do I just, you know, let someone have it more affordable as is? A couple of people came across and said, looked at it and said, you know, friends popping by and that, said, you know, to be honest, I'd just sell it as it is. I mean, definitely, like I say, the hood needs a really, really good clean. Got to finish that off. So yeah, I'm two minds. I think what I'll do is give it a really, really good clean. Check what the market price is again. Maybe stick it up as it is, and then if it hasn't sold by the time I've got time to get round to it again, then I'll start doing all the body work on it. I mean, this thing is proper nippy. So she drives fantastic, and as you can tell from the video, she's an awful lot of fun. So I think the way forward with this, as said, is give it a really, really good clean. Get the seats wet cleaned, get them looking good. Just give it all a thoroughly good clean, give it a service, photograph it and stick it up at a really good price. Like I say, I think the book for it is $5,995, something like that. I want to do none of that work on anything like this and maybe put it up for say $5,495. That's probably the difference in terms of time and effort doing the rest of the work. And that may well mean it comes in budget for someone who otherwise wouldn't be able to buy it. I mean, looking on Auto Trader, people are asking more than $7 grand for them as well. So I think what I'll do is get a touch-up pen from Marlowe's, go around, touch these bits up here, touch the edge of the doors up. Just go around, touch those bits in, tidy those up, that little bit down there on the sill. And then, like I say, if it doesn't sell like that, then we'll get Davey in and we'll get him to do that dent, paint that rear quarter, maybe refurb some alloys, possibly. Then we'll have to go for the big bucks. But yeah, comment down below, what do we think of the 500? So as always, guys, drop some comments down below. What do we think of the 500? Now, I'm sure a lot of you are going to comment and say you've had Twinairs and you've had them for years and years and years and years with no problems whatsoever. So it's a bit unfair what I'm saying about the Twinair engine, which it probably is, because like I say, we only ever see them when they have problems as a general rule. What do you think of the auto box? And what do you think of my marketing plan? Do you think I'm better off doing everything and asking the big bucks for it, or just trying to move it on at a really keen price quickly as is? As always, I do read all of your comments and reply as much as possible. I try and get through them all. So big thanks for getting underneath and putting those comments in. If you aren't already subscribed, I think it's like 60% of you aren't actually subscribed to the channel to watch it. Obviously, I think a lot of people get confused, think it costs something to subscribe to a channel. It doesn't. Just hit that little subscribe button below. It costs you absolutely nothing. It just means you'll get notifications when the new videos come out. Okay, as always, thanks for watching, guys. Catch you again soon.